welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Happy to have you here. This is a topic that has come up so many times over the years. I have worked with so many people in creating businesses around their unique skill sets and expertise, and we help them scale globally and become a global authority through online education businesses. So through online curriculums and online courses and packaging what they know into these highly scalable online programs and being able to serve people all over the world. But the biggest sort of question mark that comes up and that people really want to know is, how can you create freedom and fulfillment while also having a massive and deep impact on the people you want to serve? And this was a huge question mark for myself for many years until I was able to crack the code. And that's why I wanted to dig into really this 5-step formula that I was able to really reverse engineer in creating the growth that I've had with my business, and also really maintaining a really happy and peaceful life after going through a massive burnout and thinking that I had to hustle and stress myself to no end in order to actually be quote unquote successful. So this is really the place to be, to create a peaceful, purposeful, and profitable business. It's what my mission is. It's how I support other people. And if that's something that you're interested in, give this video a like so we can reach more people in the algorithm. Be sure to subscribe for new videos every week. And let's dig in, shall we? Now, what I'm about to share with you and these 5 things may sound insane, to be totally honest with you, because they go against the grain of probably a lot of the financial advice or business advice that you've heard in the past, but I really had to create my own method and way of doing this in order to create my own version of success, because I think that's really important. We have to start there. What is your version of success? For me, it was not working all the time. It was not burning myself out again. And in doing that, the business that I have has done just under $30 million in revenue in the span of 5 years. So it's doable. And it's doable in a way that is really, really healthy and sustainable. And that's what I want to talk about today. So if you're looking for like get rich quick or some sort of quick tactic, this ain't it. This is definitely not it. This is a long play and a long game, but I have full faith in it. And I've seen it work for myself. I've seen it work for the people that I serve. Everyone from dancers to DJs to doctors to accountants to everything in between. And if you're at a place where you really do want to be able to make a bigger impact in the world and to reach more people, well, detaching your time from your income and creating an online education business, there's a link below to a free masterclass I created, and I highly recommend that you check it out. There's nothing to lose. It's literally free. So the link's in the description below. First, we need to define freedom and what that actually means and what it means to me. And there's a book that I've read many times over the years, and I highly recommend it. It's probably the best book on money I have ever read and ever encountered, and it's called The Psychology of Money. And the quote goes like this: use money to gain control over your time, because not having control over your time is such a powerful and universal drag on happiness. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want to, pays the highest dividend that exists in finance. And that's from Morgan Housel, the author of The Psychology of Money. And a really quick story from that book, and I hope you do read it, is he shares right off the bat the story of a janitor and a really high-level CEO executive. And the janitor ends up dying with $4 million in the bank. The CEO executive, not so much. Now, how does that happen? It really comes down to some very key habits and thought processes and strategies when it comes to how you manage your finances and how you look at money and the value of what that money actually means and can do. So without further ado, let's get into the 5 steps of this formula. The steps of the formula are: know your unique financial fulfillment number, calculate the value of your skills, create a scalable and impactful business model, reverse engineer your target, and protection for freedom. Number 1, know your numbers. Knowing your financial numbers is an act of self-care and self-compassion. And I, for so many years, ran away from data. I ran away from numbers. I didn't even want to look at the finances because I just didn't want to know, and I was just hoping it'd be fine. And that actually creates and causes more stress than being hyper aware of what is going on in terms of personal finances, business finances, etc. And it also allows you to create really predictable and consistent months, quarters, years, because you know exactly what you need to achieve your target by reverse engineering your results. My accountant became my best friend. I talk to them often. And I also just really started digging into financial books and podcasts and mentors out there to understand what is the secret. Why are there some people who are able to have this really healthy relationship to money and build really healthy finances for themselves and peace and ease? And some people, regardless of how much money they have, are never-ending cases of stress. So first and foremost, the number one key is knowing your numbers, and this comes down to very basic fundamentals. So the first thing I want you to do is really look at what you need in terms of finances, both in your business and in your personal life. So an easy way to look at this in terms of a business is, what are your key expenses? And if you don't know your expenses, you might be spending a lot of money on things you don't need, which helps you right there create more financial freedom by reducing those expenses. But in a personal level, an easy way to do this is just to break it into a few simple categories. So you just want to create a really simple spreadsheet. It says monthly expenses and the amount. You can do this for, like I said, both business and personal. For personal, you want to include things like rent or mortgage, so housing costs, food, so groceries, meal delivery, whatever that looks like for you, entertainment. So what do you need to do on a monthly basis? What are like non-negotiables for you to be a healthy, happy person in terms of entertainment? So going out with friends, restaurants, concerts, etc. Insurance, any insurance that you have, any fitness costs that you might have, gym, etc. Your phone costs, an emergency fund, so any sort of like backup fund that you have, any loans or debt that you might be in, and those really account for most of the things that you're gonna have to worry about. You can include in there also things like bills on a monthly basis, so you have that set aside. So this gives you a really good, clear, accurate picture of what you need. That's really important because in order to get what you want, you have to know what you need. And the biggest key here is that when you know what you need, you then know how to plan and create a buffer for yourself, because that is probably what I've learned from talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people that are very stupidly wealthy. The number one thing that seems to come up is that they have a lot of wiggle room. And they've created that wiggle room. And that's what a buffer really is. It is knowing what you need and then allotting that number and saving that number in your business and in your personal life. So if everything broke tomorrow, you'd be A-okay. And you know what that allows you to do? Make decisions proactively. You're no longer scrambling. You're not being reactive. You're not on a hamster wheel chasing the next client to make money because you feel like you have to. You actually have that freedom and you've created it for yourself. It doesn't mean you need millions of dollars in the bank or even tens of thousands. It's a very specific number to you, so you have to know that number to create that freedom. And the really amazing thing about this is it allows you to then also invest into things that aren't just financial investments and your money working for you. They're also things that just bring you joy. And that's brings me back to what I just mentioned about having that freedom of time and choice, which is really, to me, financial freedom. And also knowing this number doesn't put you in a position where you're going for Everest and you're going for, I need to make $1 million this year. It allows you to know, okay, I need to make $20,000 a month in order to have that freedom. For example, one of my clients just bought a horse. That's her definition of happiness. She just bought a horse. One of my clients is taking his family, 2 kids and his wife, to Costa Rica for the entire winter. That's freedom of choice, okay? You don't need all of the money in the world to be able to have freedom of choice and freedom of time. But if you don't know your numbers, you're never gonna get there. The second step to turn your skills or your expertise into financial freedom is you have to know the value of what you have and the value of your skills. And so we have something we use with our clients when they're creating their programs called value-based pricing. This is not, completely unique to us. This is something that a lot of businesses use in the world. And really what it means is that you're not charging based on time. You're not charging hourly. You're not trading time for money. You're charging based on the value of what you're providing, but more importantly, you're charging based on the cost of what it costs your client to not have what you provide. So the simple equation that we created to support our clients in really identifying this is, okay, first and foremost, what is the cost to your client of not having what you provide? And again, this doesn't have to be a perfect science, but just start listing out financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, what is it costing them to not have the result that you provide? Is it costing them time? Is it costing them happiness? Is it costing them their relationship? Is it costing them going to the therapist and without any sort of results? Is it costing them medication prescriptions? What is it costing them? Are they miserable, which is then costing them their joy? and positivity in their life and gratitude in their life, and therefore it's costing them really key relationships with family and friends. What is the cost? First and foremost, you got to just brain dump everything it's costing them. The next step of that is, based on now what you know you need, what your baseline number is on a monthly basis, what do you need to be generating on a monthly basis? So what is your income goal? And what is going to allow you to achieve that income goal? And then the final piece of this is barrier to entry. So when I say that, it means you now know the cost of not having what you provide. You know your own income goal of where you're trying to get to on a monthly basis and what you need. And then you know your barrier to entry. And your barrier to entry means that whatever's out on the market, so you want to do your research. What are freelancers charging for what you do? What are coaches or mentors or therapists or experts in the field, or books or resources or conferences? What are they charging? What do prescriptions cost? What do anything related to what you are providing and what somebody who would need the solution you provide would be investing into and not getting results from? What's the average cost? And that's going to indicate to you, you want to be above average, because that allows you to not undervalue what you do. It's so easy to pick the lowest possible price for something, but one, it positions you as someone who doesn't know their worth, and it's not going to allow you to achieve what you need to achieve and make decisions in your business where you are able to actually invest time into your clients, because you're not scrambling to get your next one or doing this big launch or push to get all the people you can in the door, which spreads you completely thin, so you can't have the impact you truly want to have on the people you want to serve. So really do your research. See what is out on the marketplace in all facets. Ask people who are in the place where they need your help, what have you actually invested in to this point to get this outcome? You would be shocked. People spend years and thousands of dollars trying to find certain solutions. And the whole time they could have just put that investment into you and what you do and your skills to achieve what they needed. It's going to give you a lot of validation and a lot of confidence in charging for the accuracy of your value and what you and your skill set and your experience is worth. Number 3, create a scalable and impactful business model. So how do you go from where you are now to really expanding your reach and expanding your earning potential? Because there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many hours in the week. So how do you do that? First and foremost, you have to understand that it requires you going from working on a one-to-one level to being able to work on a one-to-many level. And this is very specific because you cannot serve on a one-to-many level unless you're very specific on who you're serving and the outcome you're providing to them, and know and accept and embrace that you're not able to actually serve everyone. One-to-one work is very customizable, but it requires you. It doesn't require a method, it requires you and your time and your energy. Whereas a one-to-many business model, which allows you to have a very specific method for a very specific person at a very specific place on their journey, seeking a very specific outcome, allows you to package your experience and your expertise and that method to get them from that zero state that they're in right now and the challenge state they're in to the ultimate transformation and outcome that they're seeking, in a way where they're getting all of the information and transformation they need from your curriculum, your pre-recorded curriculum. You're able to then free up your time and energy to really help them and support them in a setting that is still scalable by speaking to them on calls, but they're doing the work. You are setting themselves up to be totally self-reliant and accountable, so they don't have to rely on your time and energy, but you are there and you have an abundance of time and energy to be able to serve them at the highest level for any outside questions outside of your curriculum and your program. So you can do that through calls, and you can do that through a private support community, which is what we have. So it's really the 3 factors of, you have a curriculum with a duplicatable method to create a duplicatable result. You then have private support calls, and you have a private community of like-minded folks who are all in that program to celebrate each other, learn with each other, and grow with each other. And it really creates this sort of incubator, and we call it an accelerator, to accelerate progress and success. And if you want more details on this business model and structure, I break it down in this video. So you definitely want to check that out next, and I'll put it in the description below. Step 4 of the formula is reverse engineer your target in terms of creating that financial freedom. So knowing what you want to have on a monthly basis in terms of the income coming in, and then being able to actually create it on a duplicatable level month over month. And this comes down to an equation that we've been able to implement for our clients, for myself and my business, to be really, really consistent month to month, to be able to achieve that level of freedom and fulfillment while also having a big impact. So like I said, you're not serving everybody. when you have a business model where you're able to package it into a curriculum, you're serving a very specific client. And I talked a lot about this in my last video, so you definitely want to check that out. I dig deep into attracting the ideal client. So here's where this gets really interesting. I'm going to share the equation in just a second, but what I've found as I've grown is that limitations lead to growth. Sounds completely strange, right? But when you know your target number of how many humans you want to support and work with, and what that equates to in terms of revenue and how it helps you achieve your financial freedom numbers, you then just set that as a limit. And that's what you're working towards. And it completely shifts things from more, create more content, have more clients, work with everybody, to nope, I'm only gonna work with the right people, and I know exactly how many people I need to work with. And it's really not as many as I used to think. So we actually in the business have a number, and we're very specific on our number of how many humans we want to serve on a yearly basis. And we just break that down into quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily targets. And we're able to hit it consistently because we know exactly how to get there using our operations, our marketing, our systems in the business. So it starts by knowing what's the limit? What do you want to achieve? Instead of chasing some massive goal, what's the realistic and predictable goal that's going to give you financial freedom? And how many human beings is that? And then that dictates what kind of marketing you do, how much effort you need to put into it, how intentional you are with your marketing, so you're not just creating all this content for no reason and screaming into a void. And then from there, you want to know your expenses. Like I said earlier, you have to know what your costs are in your business or in your life so that you know what you need to achieve to actually be profitable. So you're not just breaking even, but you're profitable. And then you have your price of your program. So knowing the price of your program allows you to know how many humans you need to enroll into your program or into your business to achieve that number. And the reason this is so important too is that we have found in my business, and the reason that we have this very specific number, and we don't accept everyone into our program, we really do vet people and work with people to ensure that they are the right fit so we can support them, is that there is really a tipping point in any business where you might see that your fulfillment and customer service and client success might take a hit if you try and grow too fast, too soon, too much. So slow and steady wins the race. Being really clear on numbers allows you to grow in a really sustainable, healthy way where you don't sacrifice your service or your success for your clients. And that allows us to be really, really conscious of who we invite into our program, and we're not just scrambling to get any client in the door. And that's just a really fulfilling and freeing feeling, and that's what this is all about. So the equation, let's get to it. So how do you reverse engineer your target? So let's say you want to make $120,000 in the next year in your business. And let's say your price point that you've decided on for your program is $5,000. So what you do is you start with the target per month. So the target per month would be $10,000. So $10,000 means 2 clients at $5,000. How do you generate 2 clients? Well, we've discovered and we've found that the average conversion rate to get 2 clients in the door, get any amount of clients in the door, is that it's 20%. So the people that you speak to, the leads that you get for your business, you're gonna convert about 20%. Some people are higher, some people are lower. So this may shift slightly, but base it on 20%, which means however many clients you wanna get in the door, times that by 5. And that means that you would need to have 10 conversations in order to convert 2 clients per month at $5,000, which generates $10,000 in income. That allows you to reverse your target and achieve that $120,000 per year, which if for you, that's your financial freedom number, that's all you need to know. So 2 clients a month times 12 is 24 clients for the year. That means you're not doing all the marketing in the world. You are doing so much less to get exactly what you're looking for, which is why this is doable. And in terms of leads, okay, so you need to, let's say, potentially have 10 leads a month. 10 times 12 is 120 leads for the year. Okay, so it helps you simplify and know what you need to do instead of scrambling. I hope that's really helpful. Now, the 5th step of this formula is protection for freedom. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, but creating that buffer, creating runway in your business, meaning that you have your needs, your financial needs, and your expenses saved up for at least 3 months, so that if something stopped today, you wouldn't need to change anything about your business and you could float it and support it financially for the next 3 months. The more you have, obviously, the better, but this is really personal preference of what makes you feel safe and protected. Probably the best piece of financial advice that I can share and that I've been given by a lot of people is live below your means. I know that's not the sexiest thing to hear, and it really depends on you as a human. But for me, what makes me feel financially fulfilled and like I can make choices from a place of abundance and impact and proactively is that I know that I'm not needing to stress or I feel strapped, or I feel like my back is against the wall. That for me is freedom. So living very much so below my means, both in my business and in my life, has been a massive key to being able to generate the amount of revenue that we have in the last 5 years. So key little things you can do is save more than you spend. So put away into a certain account more than you're spending. Create that runway for your security blanket in your business and your life, which gives you a huge sense of independence and freedom. And use any excess that you have. Once you have a few months of runway, use any excess you have to invest into assets that are going to create a return for you and somewhat passive income. I actually made a whole video on the only things that I invest into for passive income. You can check that out right here. And again, that's a long-term play, but you then know your money's also working for you. So that just adds another layer of that financial independence and that financial freedom, because you're not trading your time for money to have that money multiply and create that compound effect. So let me know if this resonated with you. This is a topic that I have become increasingly passionate about over the years, because I have seen too many times people grow so fast, spend their money on the wrong things, have shiny object syndrome, not be aware of their finances, and their businesses crumble. And if your business crumbles, you aren't able to make the impact that you're meant to make in the world. And you can't live in a way that is peaceful. And if you aren't peaceful, you're constantly stressed, and that leads to burnout and a whole bunch of other things that just create a ripple effect of crap. I am really, really, really hopeful that this hit home, this resonated, and that you can start applying this formula and this to your life. And if that's the case, let me know in the comments what your big takeaways were and how you're going to really monetize your skill set and your unique expertise to be able to create a bigger impact and smash that income and impact ceiling. And like I said, this is what we do. This is what I do for a living. I've helped thousands of people in so many different niches do this. And if this is something that you're really interested in, like I said, click that link below to watch the free masterclass on exactly how we're able to support you through that process. And I have a whole playlist on monetizing your skills, so make sure that you check that out next. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with anybody who you think it'll resonate with. Thank you so, so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.